Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, today's personality is going to teach us a lot about hard work, grit, and resilience. She's going to help us understand that no matter where you come from or what you've been through, your experiences will not define you. Whatever God has destined you to be, you'll become that if you believe in yourself. Talking about Mrs. Monica Kwawu. She's the proprietress of Great God Academy, and you are going to be so inspired by her story that I know that you'll have questions for her. So let us know all your questions with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, you still want to contribute to the conversation, just use the country code +233. Good morning, Monica.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, the kinds of things you've achieved, people only dream of. Tell us a bit about your story.
Yeah, growing up, I grew up with a single mother. Yeah, in fact, I didn't know my dad early. It was when I was getting close to marry that I forced myself to know where my dad stays. Actually, I think he came around few occasions to pass by and say hello to me. But to know where specifically he was, no. And so I was with my mom all that time. And my mom was a Kayayo. You know, a border Kayayo. I come from Aflau in the Volta region. And so her main work is to help people with goods, luggage, when they want to cross the border. After they buy their items from Togo, and then they want to come out with the items. Most of the time, they don't want to pass through the legal means. So my mom sometimes pretends to be this Kayayo who gives them the assurance that I can help you with the luggage. And so that was what she was doing all that while to take us through our basic school.
How many siblings did you have?
5. We are 5. Yeah, 4 siblings, yeah. Yes.
So how was that like, a single mother, Kayaye, taking care of all 5 of you by herself?
It was not easy. It was not easy. We were too young, but you can see the woman really suffered. Because sometimes she comes home with empty basket. You know, this Kayayo, they have their own bowl. She has her own bowl. Sometimes she uses the empty boxes or baskets. So sometimes she comes home empty-handed, sometimes something small, and you can see the pain that she goes through. Yes, the pain that she goes through to make ends meet. And so it was so difficult. It was so difficult because sometimes feeding becomes a problem. There were several occasions I remember she came and then the only food we got was biscuits. So she shared biscuits and said, oh, we don't have anything tonight. Take the biscuit, and she gives us water to drink on it, and then we'll go to bed. Yes, that is the struggle with my mom to take care of us.
So then, during that time, were you in school? How was she able to take care of you guys?
Yeah, we were that was the basic school time. You know, after she left my dad, she married another one, and then that man was so helpful, and so he, one way or the other, also pushed through the basic school when I'm going with his kids, and he managed to support a little. But the problem actually came when after JHS and then secondary school. After JHS and secondary school was tough for me. Yeah. Somewhere along the line, I had opportunity to stay with my grandma. When she got married, she joined the husband, and so I mostly stay with my grandma. So she comes once a while to visit. Okay. So with grandma, it's another challenge.
Why did things get tough? I heard that you lost your mom around that time.
Yeah, I lost my mom when I was in the final year.
What happened?
In secondary school. She fell sick.
Wow.
She fell sick, you know. Traditionally, we just had this juju kind of thing worked. Somebody cast a spell on her. So final year was when I lost her. Very bitter. So breadwinner, I lost her.
How did you and your siblings cope?
Yeah, after the loss of my mom, the younger ones, you know, we had 2 younger girls. They were quickly sent to the orphanage.
Wow.
And so my elder brother was also then in the University of Ghana. And so he managed to patch with somebody. And the one after me, a boy, was also with the dad in Togo. So I was the only one left with my grandmom and another cousin of mine.
How was life like with your grandmom?
Very, very bad and tough.
Why?
You'd say, how to eat? What's the problem? So I'll give you some examples of things that we ate. We ate rotten oranges.
Wow.
I'm not ashamed to share this. I want to encourage the youth, whoever is listening. We go to Market Square. You see, my grandma was having few goats around. And so we normally go to Market Square with pan to get some rotten oranges because we can't afford to buy anything. So we go for the rotten oranges with that joy and excitement. You know, we were kids, so we didn't actually know we're going through things like this until I started growing. So bring the rotten oranges, pour water on it, then you cut it. Parts that are too rotten, take them off. Then parts that are a little bit okay, we'll eat. There were instances you'll be eating this rotten orange and sometimes you feel like something is in between your teeth. You remove it, see it's either gogomi.
Wow.
Excuse me. Yes. And so that is how, so throughout the week, maybe 3 times in a week, we quickly ran with the pan to the Market Square.
Just to pick rotten oranges?
Just to pick. You know, those who know where these orange women sell, there are places where they gather the rotten ones for, there's a bola people to pick. So we go there.
How old were you when you guys were doing this?
I think to like between 9, 10.
So when you see other kids who don't have to worry about what to eat, what will go through your mind?
Oh, yeah. It's an issue. It's
like
an
at that
issue.
age, at 9, you see other kids, they have more than enough to eat. You have to run to the market to pick rotten oranges. What was the future looking like?
Those who still go to the market to pick.
When you were that age, what was going through your mind?
I always feel bad. I feel underprivileged. That's how. Yes, but that is your fate at that time. So you have no option. I remember there were several instances where rotten oranges were thrown at us. Sometimes your back, sometimes your head. So it came to a point that decided to go and ask permission from the women before pick the oranges. And so we would normally go to them and we were like, oh, we have some goats, so permit us to pick some for the goats. And so we became a customers of a sort. And so anytime they see us coming, they know we are picking for the goats. But after picking on the way, we know that we are the goats ourselves. And we go home and then we eat it and we are happy. We told a lie that way to survive.
But you didn't give up. That's what I find fascinating.
Yeah,
how did you end up in high school? And
you know, that is the difference. Yesterday I was telling somebody, we still have children going through this.
Yeah.
But the difference is, I was so determined and with God on my side. Today, this is who I am. It didn't end there. We have a certain woman also in Aflau market who we normally go to her for okra, the overgrown okra, the under okra, the rejected one. So sometimes my grandmom, it's like, go to this particular woman because she already discussed with the woman, I'll be sending my granddaughter. And so the overgrown okra that nobody likes, you reserve it for me. And so when she doesn't want anybody to know we are going for that particular okra, so she's like, go and bring the amokbogbe, literally means the rejected one. So she says it in her dialect and we understand. Oh, go and buy the amokbogbe, what people reject. And so even if we take 20 pesos, then something small, we get enough of this rejected okra. And so that is what we sit and then we chop it. And chopping is not easy, you know, chopping a harder okra.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. Then we add a lot of account to it. And then we use moringa by then. So I started eating moringa.
Before moringa became
moringa. So, and that is what we use. We normally use the Kita school boys with the head. And then we prepare.
You don't take the head off?
No, we add the head. And then
how were you able to not pity yourself as you were going through this? Because there are a lot of young people watching us. They're probably living with their grandmothers. They are thinking, why didn't my dad come for me? Why have I been left here? My grandmother doesn't have anything. What was going through your mind, and how did you ensure that you don't pity yourself?
Yeah, there were instances that we pity, especially when we are hungry. You know, when you manage and you are okay as a child, and that is the situation around. That is what you are in. You see, when you are in a situation, sometimes you don't really
know how bad it is.
You don't know how bad it is until you move from that situation. Like recently, when God is giving me the recall of things I went through. And so sometimes I mostly weep when we don't have food. There were instances that you can only put salt in water, then you miss it because you don't have soup at that point to manage
so you have to pretend the salt water is soup.
Yes. You see, because we were fed with only okra. And so I grew up to force myself to learn how to prepare granule soup and other soup.
Yeah.
Because to me, there's no other soup apart from the okra soup.
Let's move on to high school. How was the high school like for you?
The high school was another difficult one. Very, very difficult. You know, at that point, my brother was almost, I think, level 300. So it became so difficult again for my mom.
Yeah.
And my brother was also very, very brilliant, as I was. I was very, very brilliant. And so my mom asked me to stop the school. And so
wait, this is before your mom
before she passes on, yeah. So I should stop, and so she can take care of my brother to go through the university. But I gave her the assurance that, no, I also do other things to really support. I have to do other things to support her.
So what were some of the things you did?
I did. Some of the things you know, before then, I also served as housemaid with a lot of people. I live with 4 people.
Wow.
Yes, I did. And so I learned some skills from them.
How did they treat you?
Let me give you one treatment I will never forget. I stayed with somebody who made me break stones for it to be used to build his house. They gave me goggle and a hammer. I don't know if you, yesterday I was showing my leg to somebody, some of the particles of the rock that pinched me and then gave me a lot of bruises.
Wow.
You see, so they gave me goggle and hammer, and I always sit by the stove cracking it, and when it's more around, I have headpan that I'll pack it inside and go and pour it at a particular place. I did it and it became more, and that is what he used.
And how
for
old
the
were
concrete. That time, I think I'll be like between 8, 9 thereabout.
Wow.
When the wife gave birth and they came for me to take care of the baby for them.
And you ended up breaking stones.
Breaking stones. And that time too was a time my mom, they gave assurance to my mom that when they take me away, I'll be sent to school. And so they enrolled me in a Shama government school. But I can't remember the number of times
you were in school.
I was in school. The several times, the days that I was able to go, when I'm going, look, when I'm going, they'll be like, they won't give me breakfast and also no money. And then no school fees also. It came to a point they always sacked me for school fees, so I'm always behind the classroom block. But the painful aspect is that I expect that not taking breakfast, no money, no pocket money. When I come home, at least you should give me food. But the woman is like, oh, it's already late. So why not wait for us to take supper?
Wow.
At once? I have no option to just nod my head. And I did. Even that, they have a plot of land which they will show me that, oh, Daddy said before he comes back, you should be able to finish this part of the plot. On that empty stomach, with no energy left in you. So sometimes you see me in the farm within and weeping. And what would their children be doing? They had only one child. It was a very young. I went there to take care of the baby. But you ended up becoming the house girl. Yes. And the builder, mason and everything. There are people watching us right now maltreating young girls who are less, privileged or less fortunate. What advice would you give them? Because they don't know the destiny of that young girl. Exactly. And the impact what they are doing today will have on that child. What would you tell them? Yeah, I think they should learn lesson from this. Because looking at me today, all those who maltreated me, they will be ashamed. And so they are equally your children. Take them as your children because you don't know their tomorrow. You don't know who they will become tomorrow because God does his own thing in his own way. So we advise them to better be nice with those kids. Now, why did you still go on to secondary school, university? Most young women would have been like, maybe this is my destiny. I should just go learn a trade. Let me just sell on the streets. Let me be a house girl for the rest of my life because I can't see any light ahead of me. What kept you going? I think God is another fact. God made it clear that the future is bright because I can't remember any school that I attended that I've never excelled. My old mates from Freetown Secondary School, all those who are watching by now, I was the girls' prefect of Freetown Secondary School. My basic school, I was the girls' prefect. I went to teacher training college. I was the assistant girls' prefect because even that, because I wasn't a colleague, I would have taken the girls' prefect. I go for quiz competitions. I go for debates, other competitions that you should represent the school. I'm there. And so it gave me the assurance that the future is bright. I shouldn't give up. And I think God was also another factor pushing me because of today. So let's talk about today. Yes. How did you end up as the proprietress? Let's finish with the secondary school a little bit. Okay, let's go for it. So because I was determined to go to secondary school, from Kwawu to Denu, Freetown Secondary School specific, when you check the distance, it's about 6 kilometers. Wow. And I trek. In fact, I travel to school. You don't just go to school, you travel to school. From Denu, from Kwawu to Denu. Every day? Every day. So what time would you wake up? I leave at dawn. And I start the journey. How many minutes would it take you to get to school, or hours would it take you to get to school? Yeah, actually, I think it definitely will vary.
So on your fastest day, how long would it take you to get to school?
I can't really, unless I...
Like 1 hour?
Yeah, it's possible.
Jesus.
It's possible. So I get to school, uniform is wet.
Soaked, you are tired, you're sweaty. I hope did you even have deodorant?
What deodorant? That time, no, no deodorant. So because my mom said boarding house, there's no way you think of even boarding house, and that is why I chose Town Secondary School, not any other school. Okay, so.
But how were you able to concentrate and still excel academically?
It was difficult, but naturally, academically, I'm good.
What do you like about studying?
I have a picture that I think because when I perform very well, the motivation around me, everybody say, I'm proud of you, you are a good child, you are like this. So I was so determined. And so you see me always studying. There are times that you see me in a trace, climbing trace to study in there, just to set a record. And so when the going at the science school became tough, I have to start selling. Weekends, prepare kenke, weekends in the evening, fry sweet potato by the roadside. Most of the time, when school is on vacations, moving around, washing for people, door to door, so I can get something from them. I entered into farming. I had a farm, a backyard farm of onions, of which I used 2 watering cans to water them. But unfortunately, thing happened final year when I have to lose my mom. Very bitter. That was when I lost my mom and I nearly gave up.
Why?
Yeah, because when I was trying my best, she was saying my result. She'll get the result, quickly run to somebody and ask the person, check my daughter's result. How is her perform? I asked her to stop the school. She said she'll go, check the result. And everybody was like, hey, what a girl, she's doing well. And so she started now supporting me small. And it came to a point, said, oh, the trekking to school is difficult. I'll manage for you to get a hostel. And I managed to get to hostel now where I cook my own food. And so she gave me some hope and encouragement at that point. So seeing somebody like this, which you don't have your dad around to support, and now she's in to support you, and all of a sudden, she died. When she was sick, I was with her that night. The following day, she forced me to go to school. I said, no, you are not too well. Let me call the house mistress and stay with you for today. She said, go. And so I left to school, and I didn't go back to the hostel because I know my mom is not well. So straight to Aflau. On my way, and I saw my uncle and other people at the entrance of the mortuary. I have to quickly get down, and I know something happened. So all hope was lost again. To finish the secondary school was another bitter thing. Remember that I was sharing somewhere that I have to still with my grandma go to people door to door, collect under banku water because she was having a pig. The pig was 1. She was having a pig that she now wants to rear because they normally produce more. So we put bucket with people. We come to your house, drop bucket there, and said, oh, after banku, the following day, the water you throw away, give it to us to feed our pigs. And then we take those waters in a bucket. Then quickly we go inside. Fortunately for us, we will put our hand inside. And sometimes we are lucky to find some rejected bankus that people normally add to the water for us to feed our pigs. And that is what we pick.
Wow.
And then we mash it nicely. We heat it. Sometimes she allows us to mash it. And then when you put it on the traditional stove that we use the firewood, and it boils enough, you can now add the corn powder to make it a little bit more. And so we feed on.
But after all these challenges, everything else, you still became the successful woman that you are today.
Yes.
investing in the education of other children.
Yeah.
Tell us how that process has been for you.
The process was at the final year in the science school, every day sacking you for school fees, until one day I was about leaving. You know, it became a norm. And so most of my colleagues didn't know. So where I was sitting, I saw the headmaster coming with the list. So I quickly picked my bag as though I'm going somewhere. And then he stopped me and said, "Today you are lucky. Somebody came in to settle your school fees for you." "Who is that?" He said the person left, and then he just left his number and other details, and said from today he will take care of your everything, and so he'll be back. And so I came back to the class, put my head down, and I wept because I see it as a miracle. And so the following day, or the following week, the man came back to now introduce himself. And according to the man, my mom was once a good woman to him. I didn't know actually what my mom did for the man, but the man told me that your mom helped me before, so I'm now having a sleepless night, and I was looking for any of the child to be kind to him or her, and so he's ready to take over the rest of my fees. And so he paid, and so I think he supported me at that point to finish the 3,000 school at that time.
Wow.
Yes.
And wherever he is,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's very proud of
Very,
you. We
very
have to
proud.
make progress.
Yeah.
So let's talk about today and the
Today.
school that you're operating.
Yeah, okay. So today, by God's grace, because of these few experiences I was sharing, I want to impart life. So I had a vision to teach children, have children. You know, I'm a professional teacher already, because I completed St. Francis Teacher Training College. After the man came back again and paid my admission fee.
Wow.
And the allowance and the rest was what supported me when I finished St. Francis. And so with this story, sometimes when I sit down and I look at children, especially those who are in trouble, those who are orphans, I think this is a very great opportunity to impart them. So I always tell them stories that make them weep and they are steady. And so I decided to start a school myself. And I have a lot of children that I'm imparting their life, both godly and giving them hope. Yes.
And how do they react when they hear your story? We're looking at your school here. You can clearly relate to what the kids are experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you sit back and you look at the school and you see how far you've come, what do you feel?
Sometimes when we were young, when we go to church and they tell us God has planned for everybody, and God loves us, and God can change destinies around. When pastors are telling us, sometimes we don't believe it. But looking at who I am today and what God has done, it gives me that hope and the faith that we are serving a living God who can turn destinies around. So my children, I don't joke with them. Yes, I look at them, even the little one, I always look at them as big people, great men and women. So I do tell parents at PTA, don't joke with these ones. Yes.
What's next for you, Monica?
Next, as in,
what can we expect from you? Are you going to, build more schools? Are you going to continue education? What can we expect from you?
Yes, by the grace of God. That is the vision. Continue more schools, pursue other courses, and then want to read law, want to go. Yes.
Law?
Yeah.
Why law?
You see, the vulnerable there are a lot of vulnerable children out there. Sometimes I normally take my time to go around to see some of them, especially there are typical villages I taught before. I have the picture of children from the typical village where I taught, where I have to organize all of them, bring them to my home, pound fufu with them, eat with them, give them hope. And some of them, because of the way you are free with them, they come to you, they share their stories with you, but they don't have the voice. And so I want to, by God's grace, I want to go to field that will help me to be able to help them out. Wow. That is my vision, and I know God will do it.
If you could see the 12-year-old version of you today, what would you tell her about the life that she's about to live?
A 12-year-old?
Yourself when you were 12. If you can talk to Monica at 12, what would you tell her?
I will encourage Monica that all that you are going through, no condition is permanent. But the secret is you have to be determined. You have to work harder, and you get there. And then you have to also believe in God and live a faithful life. God will surely help you out.
We're so proud of you, Monica Kwawu.
Thank you.
Thank you for this great story, and I look forward to you coming back years from now
to
tell us that you are now
a
lawyer in your own right, and you are impacting lives. Thank you.
Thank you too.
So there you guys have it, a story of inspiration, resilience, grit, hard work. Everything you could have thought of was against her. Raised by a single mother, Kayaye lost her mom, took things that we reject and still became who God destined her to be. We have absolutely no excuse to not be what we are meant to be. The challenges in life sometimes are meant to help us discover our purpose. The only way you can truly empathize with people who are less fortunate is if you've walked in the shoes that they are in. And Monica is nobody's victim. She used her experiences to now impact lives of thousands of children. And she's going to go to law school and do more. We've received some of your messages, so I'll read them briefly. This is coming from Ernest. Ernest says, Mama Monica, as we affectionately call her, is such a great personality that I've ever come across. She's an inspiration to the youth of COP, English Assembly, a Shaiman official town. Mama Monica has been very instrumental in my university education, and I know that God will surely replenish anything that she has contributed to my life. So on behalf of Ernest, we say thank you, Monica, for the great work that you've done. Don't go anywhere, guys. Breakfast Daily will be right back.